We just started recording. Welcome to the Packaging and Plastic Reduction Action Power Hour. I am your host for the day, Jennifer Congdon. I'm the Deputy Director of Beyond Plastics. I'm also a former Assistant Secretary for the Environment in the New York State Governor's Office. The point of this day is to take action to reduce plastic pollution. You will hear about how to do that in just a moment. And I can tell you from experience in government that the actions that you take today will matter. We will see how many emails we can generate during this power hour because we have to let our legislators know that we want to end plastic pollution. But before we get started with that, we have a very special speaker with us today who's here to inspire you. Award-winning actor Alicia Reiner is best known as the SAG award-winning Fig on 7 seasons of Orange is the New Black, one of my favorite shows, and also for originating the role of Agent Sadie Deaver in Ms. Marvel. She just finished her 5th season as Sunny on Better Things and her 2nd season as Catherine in Star's Shining Vale, as well as 2 seasons as Kiki on The Deuce. Alicia conceived of, developed, produced, and starred in the feature film Equity, which was bought and distributed by Sony Pictures Classics at the Sundance Film Festival. She produced and starred in Egg, which premiered at Tribeca Film Festival and is 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. My goodness, she is busy, but on top of all of that, she finds time to be a change maker for women and advocate for women's rights and climate change initiatives. She serves on the boards for GDIM and Earth Day Initiative, is on the advisory board for Air Protein, and is the face and zero waste eco emissary for Izzy Beauty. And she herself has started an eco fashion zero waste initiative called Lavari. She is a champion of all things eco-friendly, and she and her husband actually used their own home renovation project as a way to share with the public about building green. Alicia has been invited to speak and keynote at the White House, the United Nations, Google, Cannes Lion, Women's Media Summit, Collision, and countless film festivals and events about breaking barriers for women in all fields. We are absolutely honored to have her with us here today. Please welcome Alicia Reiner.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone so much for being here. If you just came in, welcome to the Plastic Pollution Power Hour. And our goal is to get a record amount of emails out. And I deeply believe we can do that. It's amazing to have a group of environmentalists from across the state. And I have done this so many times myself, and I know to be short and say, I am a proud New Yorker like you who stands with Beyond Plastics and all of the co-sponsors of this event who are working so hard to reduce plastic pollution. I am sure, like you, I am an avid recycler, and I deeply believe in reuse and how we can rethink reusing things. I think it's so deeply important. And I also know that plastic recycling is different than metal and glass. And New York alone spends, I believe we trash 1,579,600 pounds of plastic bottles and jugs every week. Yeah, like 1.5 million pounds of plastic a week, which equals $425 million each year to export waste to incinerators and landfills, which is just heartbreaking and also expensive for us personally. So clearly, we have to make plastic go away. We need to at least make a lot less plastic. And we're here today because there's something that we as individuals can do. We can tell our state legislators what we care about and get bills passed, because that's the only way things are going to change, right? We all know that the fossil fuel industry is fossil fuel is plastic, plastic is fossil fuel. As they're losing all of the energy, they're going to come for the plastic and they're going to want to make more plastic. And we have to make sure that doesn't happen. And thank God the New York City or state legislator can pass the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Act with our help. It's sponsored by Assemblyman Deborah Glick and Senator Peter Harkham. And this would reduce all plastic by 50% and remove the most toxic chemicals from packaging. And it would save our recycling system, right? Most importantly, to me personally, it would mean no more plastic burning counting as recycling, which like, so we are the grassroots, right? We are the firewall against all the industry lobbyists, the fossil fuel lobbyists, the plastic lobbyists who want to see plastic production increase. So babies, it is up to us. You know, I'm a superhero chaser on TV, but in real life, we have to be our own superheroes around the environment. We can't like ask somebody else to do it. Just like we recycle, we have to really reach out to our legislator and the people who represent us and make sure they're properly representing us. So let's do it. Let's use this power hour and send out as many emails as we possibly can. I want record numbers. We can make calls to offices. It's going to be so easy, and we'll let them know with a very loud voice that we are going to do something to help end plastic pollution. So thanks so much for having me.
Woo! Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much for those exciting words. You really are an inspiration to us today as we take action to reduce plastic pollution. And now I would like to introduce Brett Walter from our partner Climate Action Now. They are the people who created this amazing app that makes taking action so easy. And you're going to learn about that app right now. And it's going to help you take actions throughout the rest of our programming for the next hour. And we are going to see just how many emails we can generate today, right now. Take it away, Brett.
That's great. Hi, everybody. So great to have you here. This is one of the great moments of every week for me when I get in a room with people who really walk the walk as well as talk the talk. I'm going to show you today how we're going to walk the walk, and that is with this app that we've created. It's called Climate Action Now. And just to give you some encouragement, I'll show you how easy it is for you to take the action. And the best way to do that is for me to share my phone screen with you. Yes, it works. Hallelujah. And so what you'll find in the app is that the actions you can take are in a carousel, and you can swipe through them. And you can see I've already taken a few actions today, part of this End Plastic action party. And to simply take an action with the app, you simply, what this action is, tell non-sponsors in the New York Assembly to support the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Act. All I have to do, 3 out of 6 means there's going to be 6 batches of emails that we're sending. All I have to do is press the Do It Now button, and up comes one of the Assembly people. I press the email button. We launch the email app on your phone and put in some boilerplate. But the most important thing I want to draw your attention to here, not the most important thing, but an important thing, is the very first sentence. We call this your personal statement. And this is very important that your messages begin with a personal statement, because when the staffers in the Assembly member's office are skimming through the emails, that sentence tells them that you're a real person. Of course, the rest of it is boilerplate, and you can edit it if you wish. But all I have to do now is press the send button on my email app. Boom, it got sent. I'm still in my mail app, so I'm going to push up here in the corner to go back to the Climate Action Now app. I'm going to tell the app I sent the email, which is going to give me points, which count towards real trees that we'll plant on your behalf. And now it's all queued up for me to send another message to Assembly Member Matinus, something like that. I say yes, and off we go. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you is how you can create your personal statement.
But
Now,
Brett, should you start with how to get the app?
well, I was going to do that next,
Okay.
but yeah, let me just do that next, because then I want to give people kind of a preview, and then we'll help them as they go. I'm going to stop sharing this. When you get the app, and Matthew in a moment here is with me, is going to show you a QR code. And that QR code, you'll scan it. He'll tell you how to use it, but it'll bring you straight into the app. But once you're in the app, you're going to see the screen that I'm going to share with you right now. And all right, here it is. Once you create an account in the app, it's going to ask you for your personal statement, and it'll ask you for your type. So all you do is put in your name. It's important to put in your, and then there's two little pop-up menus here. One is and I chose father, and the other one is who fears for my family in a warming world. And in these little pop-up menus, you'll also have an option of other, and that's a good one. If you choose other, then you could type whatever you want. You know, you could say, I'm a left-handed Swiss dentist, you know, who lost my home to a wildfire in the Bahamas, you know, if you want. And then you save that, and that is then your personal statement. The more personal, the better, the more effective it will be. So, okay, so now to Judith and Matthew. Matthew, tell us how we can show people how they can get to the app.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Matthew. I am the director of content for the CAN app, and yeah, I'm going to show you now how to actually start taking some actions today. So up here on the screen, we see what we call the goal tracker. On the left-hand side, we've got the number of actions that we're taking, and that's going to keep going up as we take action. We're going to keep an eye on how many actions we're taking, and every time we hit a goal, we are going to celebrate and then raise the goal. That's how we do it. On the right-hand side, we have this funny-looking thing, and that's what Brett was referring to. It's called a QR code. And the way that you're going to get into the app is you're going to take out your phone, hold it up to that QR code, and open your camera app or whatever you use to take pictures, right? You're actually going to pretend that you're taking a picture of that QR code. But instead of taking a picture, a little box should come up as soon as that QR code is on your camera screen. When you press that box, that link, it'll take you over to the App Store to download the Climate Action Now app. So if everybody would take a moment to do that right now, go ahead and get the app downloading and all of that. Or if you already have the app, it'll take you right to the actions that we're going to be doing today. I'll leave this up for just a little bit longer, and then I will turn my camera into a picture of this. So anybody who still needs the QR code will be able to scan it right from the Zoom screen.
Yeah, and I want to jump in right now. Most of you will have no difficulty with any of this, but sometimes things don't go as planned. So not to worry, we've got you covered. At the end of this hour, Matthew and I will hang around to help anybody that is having any technical difficulties, and we'll be able to get it sorted out for you very quickly. So just hang around through the hour if you need help, and we'll help you with that. And then secondly, we're recording this session, and so these instructions are in the recording, and I will be sending the recording out to everybody who registered for this event probably within a couple hours, so you can come back into that recording and listen to the instructions again. Everybody, the actions are in the app through the end of the New York legislative session. So anything you don't do today, you can do tomorrow, you can do later today. It's important you do it. It's important you let as many people know about the app as possible so that we can saturate the New York legislature with messages demanding action on plastic. And with that, I think we'll go back to who's next?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, okay.
I just want to say real quick, I love to see the actions already going up. So a number of you are already on the app, taking action, getting those numbers on the board. So keep it up, folks.
Thank you so much, Brett and Matt, for that tutorial, and also for developing the app and working with us in partnership to use it. today and for the rest of the legislative session. I also love seeing those numbers tick up, up, up. Every single person on this call, please, I implore you, get on the app right now if you're not there yet and start taking actions. Do it throughout the whole call. So we are excited to see how many emails we can generate today. This is going to make a big difference. The legislative leadership is making decisions by the end of this week for what will be on the end of session priority list. We need to let them know today that this is a priority for us. Next, we will hear from the founder and president of Beyond Plastics. Before founding Beyond Plastics in 2019, Judith Enck served as the regional administrator for Region 2 of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. She was appointed by President Obama for that position. She is a lifelong advocate for the environment and public health, and I promise you, she will not sleep at night until she ends plastic pollution. Please welcome my longtime colleague, friend, and mentor, Judith Enck.
Thanks, Jennifer, and welcome everyone. Before we get into the meat of the issue, I want to thank Alicia, if she's still with us. That was an inspiring beginning. And, you know, we can't do social change without artists like her. And I love Orange is the New Black, but I want to suggest that her next series be Plastic is the New Coal. Very corny joke. And I want to thank Brett Walter and Matt Volrath, who created this incredible tool, the Climate Action Now app. It took Brett years to create the tool. This was launched in 2021. This is about the 20th time they're doing a party like this, and we're grateful for their support here. So we're here to talk about this bill in the legislature. Jennifer, you want to kick us off with some questions? We decided to do this as questions and answers. So Jennifer is Oprah, and I'm, oh, I don't know. I would say Meryl Streep, but perhaps
let's go with it. Let's go with it. All right. So Judith, why don't you start off with telling us what is the problem that we're trying to solve?
We're trying to solve overconsumption of natural resources and the issue of overuse of single-use packaging. So I just want to be, really clear about what we're talking about. What is packaging? It's what's used to hold consumer products. This sounds a little dorky, but the bill deals not just with direct packaging for products, but also transportation packaging, which is huge. So it's things like this little Amazon, really non-recyclable package you get in the mail. It's this, if you're eating Power Bowls, it comes in cardboard, and the top of your coffee lid. So that is packaging, and over packaging is a huge problem that we are trying to reduce.
So Judith, why don't you walk us through the bill that is being proposed right now? How would this help deal with the problem?
So we're talking about Assembly Bill 5322 in the New York State Legislature, Senate Bill 4246. It's called the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Act. If we get this through before June 9th, it will be the strongest packaging reduction law in the country. An average of 6.8 million tons of packaging waste is produced every year in New York, which is about 40% of the waste stream. So this bill has a few key elements. First, it requires that packaging be reduced by 50% over 12 years. And what we've learned from the climate change issue is you don't do just these long-term aspirational goals and then act shocked after 20 years when you don't reach them. We're pretty smart. Well, Jennifer is. So Jennifer has worked in government and others have worked in government, and we don't want aspirational goals. We want it to be step by steps. So you can course correct. So 10% reduction in packaging in 3 years, 20% reduction in 5 years, 30% reduction in 8 years, 40% reduction in 10 years, and 50% reduction in 12 years. Everything that's left needs to be reusable, refillable, or recyclable. And when I talk about reduction, I mean actually eliminating some packaging or designing it to be reusable or refillable. Second, we know that there's a lot of toxic chemicals in packaging, even packaging used for food and beverages. So this bill would prohibit 12 toxic materials from being used in packaging. The 12 are lead, cadmium, mercury, formaldehyde, PFAS chemicals, toluene. My dream is to have a debate with someone from the chemical industry and have them argue why we need formaldehyde in packaging. Would love to have that debate.
So Judith, what you're talking about right now is apparently very exciting to our crowd, because the actions are going up and up and up, and we are getting very close to 700 actions right now. Matt, it may be time to move the goalpost. Think we're going to get there?
Oh, we'll get there, and I'll wait until we do so we can see the fireworks, and then I will move up the goal.
Okay. All right. I jumped in too soon. All right, Judith, tell us more about the bill, please.
Well, wait till I start talking about eco-modulated fees. Then it's going to go through the roof. So this is a polluter pay bill. Right now, you and I as taxpayers pay to get rid of all this packaging. This bill would create a fee on packaging. The more environmentally damaging the packaging, the higher the fee. So if it's a refillable bottle, no fee. If it's baby food packaging that's plastic and metal together, a multi-material package that's really hard or impossible to recycle, higher fee. Look at those numbers. And these fees will be used to make investments in reuse and recycling. This fee money doesn't disappear in the general fund of New York. It goes into a special isolated fund to fund waste reduction and recycling. We'll talk about what that means in a bit. And then it also prohibits plastic burning from counting as recycling. So just briefly, the way this is going to work is something called a needs assessment will be done, which basically you contact local governments, and our governments can say, oh, let me finish needs assessment, because the numbers will go up again. So the needs assessment will identify what needs to be funded for reduction and recycling, and not just recycling, also reduction. So all of these eco-modulated fees will relieve taxpayers of any burden to pay for reduction, recycling, and disposal. That's what the bill does.
That's fantastic, Judith. Brilliant bill, if I do say so myself. So I love seeing these actions tick up. We have surpassed our goal, but we are going to raise the goal because we have to do more. We have to keep taking actions. Please, as we go through, as Judith and I are talking, just keep going through that carousel and taking actions. We want to try to get through to the end. It's possible. And if it is, we will hit huge numbers today. So Judith, what does it mean to reduce packaging by half? Like what is that? Tell us about it.
Well, it's so important because when you look at plastic packaging, recycling doesn't work. We want to keep encouraging people to recycle metal, glass, paper, cardboard, compost, yard waste, and food waste. But at Beyond Plastics, we have documented that plastic recycling has been an abysmal failure. So the guts of this bill is reduction. So what does reduction look like? You've all gotten packages in the mail from that giant company that shall not be named that starts with A. And it comes in layers and layers and layers of packaging when all you needed was one or two little things. We think that actually will save companies money. Just eliminate some packaging. And then we are excited about a transition to the refill and reuse economy. What does that mean? It means consumer products come in a refillable container. And when you are done with your product, it just gets replaced, the product, not just the container. But also at your kids' or grandchild's school, there's a good chance that their lunches and breakfast are being served on single-use disposable plates and forks and cups. How about installing dishwashing equipment so children can be served nutritious food, hopefully, on durable dishware? To do that, your school district needs money to install dishwashing equipment. How about when you're out at a park or you're traveling in an airport, rather than having to buy single-use plastic water bottles, we want water refill stations and water fountains everywhere. That's going to take some money because plumbing is involved. Have you tried to get a plumber lately? I've been waiting for a long time. We need to get plumbers involved, creating jobs, installing simple things like water fountains. So the most important part of this bill is requiring and funding reduction. Think about it this way. Companies have made all sorts of promises over the years to reduce packaging, to increase recycling, and they largely have not done that because they're empty promises. When we pass this bill, it's environmental standards for packaging, just like we have fuel efficiency standards for cars, for appliances. These will be environmental standards for packaging.
Thank you. That's really helpful. So we're hanging out with the Climate Action Now people. What's the nexus between climate change and packaging?
We love the Climate Action Now people, and everyone on this meeting obviously is very good at multitasking, which I just wanted to point that out. That's what the climate action people do. They make us multitask. So I'm speaking, I'm sending emails, and I'm folding laundry all at the same time. I just want you to know. What is the connection between plastics and climate change? It is huge. Plastics is the plan B for the fossil fuel industry. And that's why we need to pass Senate Bill 4246, Assembly Bill 5322. Here's what's going on. And none of us have been let in on this conversation. As we finally see a transition toward cleaner renewable energy like solar and wind, there's less demand for fossil fuel to generate electricity. When we're finally seeing a move toward more mass transit, more walkable communities, more bike lanes, more electric vehicles, there's a lesser demand for fossil fuels. So a whole bunch of people met somewhere and decided that plastics is where the fossil fuel industry will move next. It's already a big problem. We issued a report about 1.5 years ago. It's on our website. Basically, plastics is the new coal. And we documented greenhouse gas emissions from the generation, use, and disposal of plastics, and shockingly found that by 2030, there will be more greenhouse gas emissions from plastics than from United States coal-fired power plants. So as we're working hard to drive down emissions from coal plants, it's being replaced by plastic production, use, and disposal. Economists tell us that by 2030, but in the next 20 years, plastic production will double. So this is a key part of the climate change fight.
That's great, Judith. I just want to call our attention to that. We just reached our next goal. So congratulations, everyone. Keep going, keep the messages coming. We are going to flood their inboxes today and let them know that we care about ending plastic pollution in New York State. I believe Matt is going to move the goalpost for us again.
Move the goalpost, and this time I'm going to move it by 700 all the way to 2,000. And we get to 2,000.
We can do this. I believe in this crew. I really do. So, all right, Judith, earlier in your discussion about the bill, you mentioned that it wouldn't allow for chemical recycling to count as real recycling. Can you tell us what chemical recycling is?
Sure. So for decades, the plastics industry told us, don't worry about all the single-use plastic flooding your supermarket. Just toss all of that into your recycling bin. That was a big lie, because really only number 1 and number 2 marked plastic packaging can be recycled. And again, the overall plastic recycling rate is only 5 to 6%. That is so much. That is just so low. It's less than paper, metal, glass, and plastic recycling has never gotten to even 10%. So when you show up at a state legislature or a city hall meeting to say, eliminate plastic bags or polystyrene, what we're often met with is lobbyists from the plastics industry saying, oh, don't ban this plastic, we can recycle it. Well, people know that's not true. Policymakers know that 5 to 6% recycling is really low. And in fact, 2 nights ago, ABC News ran an amazing, lengthy investigative report on how when you put your plastic, single-use plastic bags in bins for recycling, how most of them actually wind up at incinerators and landfills. So the plastics industry is no longer credibly able to argue that plastics can be recycled. So now they have decided that they're promoting something called chemical recycling or advanced recycling, and they change the name on a regular basis. And what it mostly is high heat of plastic in an attempt to turn it into fossil fuel. The technologies are gasification and pyrolysis. They also use a technology called savolysis, which uses massive amounts of toxic solvents, and they try to dissolve the plastic and turn it into new plastic. We just put a memo out with some of our partner organizations like NYPIRG and NRDC and Environmental Advocates and Sierra Club. We just put a memo out with a big picture of a unicorn on the top of the fact sheet describing chemical recycling, because it's a unicorn. Most of these facilities never get built. They're very polluting. When they do get constructed, they're sited in low-income communities or communities of color, making this a major environmental justice issue. And they typically don't get built unless there's massive taxpayer subsidies. They're not a real solution at all. And unfortunately, what the plastics and chemical industry lobbyists are doing is they're trying to change the definition of recycling in this very bill to allow for chemical recycling to count as recycling. And we are camped out in the legislature every day they're in session, talking to lawmakers and saying we absolutely cannot have that in the definition of recycling. There are other bills, standalone bills that promote chemical recycling. It's a really terrible bill introduced by Senator John Mannion of Syracuse and Assemblymember Alicia Hindman of Queens that would deregulate these facilities from some of our state's environmental laws and also offer public subsidies. We're working to defeat those bills, but the stealth strategy by the chemical lobbyists is to tinker with or essentially gut the definition of recycling and allow for chemical recycling. That's why we will be on patrol. And that's why when you talk to your legislators, when you call them, I know this is a little complex, but it's 2 messages. One is pass Assembly Bill 5322, Senate Bill 4246, but do not allow this bill to allow chemical recycling, or they call it advanced recycling, to count as recycling. So you can always add a sentence, reject toxic chemical recycling. That's where the fight is.
That's really great message for everybody to get, Judith. And want to we're going to move in a minute to you telling us more about what's happening on the ground in the Capitol. But first, I just want to mention again that you've had quite a week of being in the media. You were on WAMC yesterday for a special roundtable, right, on packaging. And I'm hoping that one of my colleagues can drop that link into the chat, although I don't want anyone to stop taking action. So you could like open it and then just leave it for later. Keep taking actions. And also this ABC News piece that aired earlier this week really gets to the heart of why plastics recycling is not working and will never work. And I would like to ask a colleague to drop that into the chat as well, so that you guys can view it later. Is there anything else you want to say about these two pieces and what we're how is the landscape changing on plastics recycling?
Well, I was really grateful to be on WAMC yesterday for 15 minutes. And that for folks who are not local, that's our Albany, upstate New York, Hudson Valley NPR station, which is a wonderful station. And you should support them too, and support Beyond Plastics and support the Climate Action app. Support all of us, please. So it was a really good conversation with Joe Donahue. I'm always on the Friday morning roundtable on WAMC, but we have to cover topics really fast. So yesterday I had 15 minutes to basically walk through the bill, why it's important, what people can do. So it's a deep dive on the New York bill. And then the ABC News segment called Trashed. I strongly urge everyone to look at it later today or tomorrow and to share it with your legislators and your neighbors. They spent 6 months on this investigative piece, and they documented how so many plastic bags are not actually recycled, even when you take the time to drop them into the recycling bin at local stores. So really good timing. I mean, it's just a coincidence that it's running now at the moment we're in this huge struggle in New York. So take the link and share it with legislators. I teach a class, an online class on plastic pollution through Bennington College, which you can all sign up for and take in September. And I showed it to the class last night at the end of class, and people were just stunned about what they saw. It also focuses on the very real environmental and health risks associated with garbage incinerators. And it profiles the amazing citizens in Westchester fighting against the Peekskill incinerator, and also Chester, Pennsylvania. Looks like we're getting pretty close to that goal. We are
very close to 2000. Keep taking actions, guys. We're almost to 2. Oh, we did it. We did it.
Wow.
Yay. Congratulations. All right.
Right. One more, I think, and then we're going to have some phone calls at the end of the hour here. So let's do one more goal for the emails and keep it up. I think Brett wants me to do 2250, but I'm going to do 2500. I think we can do it. 2500.
I just want to say, this is the story of my life. You're always moving the goalpost.
Yeah, we do that. We have a tendency to do that. I wanted to say about the ABC piece, a bunch of us at Beyond Plastics we participated in taking the bags and putting them into the bins. And there was a whole process. We had to take pictures. I felt like I was on The Wire. Like, it was so cool. And I think that a lot of our bags ended up in Malaysia, like littered. It's so depressing. I mean, I didn't have high hopes, but that was really a gut punch. So, all right, Judith, you're at the Capitol nearly every day for the past couple of weeks. I want you to describe the scene around this bill, and I want you to tell us, what are we up against?
Well, that's where all of you come in. So the Capitol in Albany has been super busy. The state budget was late, and so they're trying to jam in a whole bunch of bills at the end of session. So we've got a good relationship with the two sponsors, Assemblywoman Deborah Glick, Senator Pete Harckham. They want a strong bill, as strong as bill as possible. But here's what they are up against. You go to the back of the Senate chamber or the Assembly chamber, and there is an army of special interest lobbyists working against this bill. And, you know, I'm a little rusty on Albany because I was at EPA during the Obama administration doing federal stuff, and then have come back to do state level work. And the lobbyists opposing this bill are everywhere. The American Chemistry Council themselves have 4 separate law firms that are lobbying firms in Albany. And they're pretty big and pretty influential, to involve former Democratic state senators who are lobbying for the American Chemistry Council. And you know, and they're former colleagues, and they're buddies. And then you see the lobbyists from Amazon, and then you see the lobbyists from the supermarket lobby, and then you see the lobbyists from McDonald's and the lobbyists from Mars Candy, and they're running around saying, oh, we can do 50% reduction of packaging, but you need to let chemical recycling, aka plastic burning, to count as recycling. So we are so outgunned in Albany, and it's all very friendly, you know, just kind of nod my head and I listen in on their lobbying. And there's a lot of them, and there's not a lot of us, but there's more of us at the grassroots level. You know, we may not make campaign contributions, we may not wine and dine lawmakers. In fact, I bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a reusable container every day to the Capitol, so I don't have to stop for lunch. But you are the cavalry. The way we are going to win is with grassroots mobilization. Legislators want to hear from their own constituents. You matter more than any special interest lobbyist. So we want you to concentrate on your state assembly member, your state senator, and then really, really important are the legislative leaders, the Assembly Speaker, Carl Hastie, Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
So Judith, that's great. I want to just pause for a second. I had a moment yesterday at the grocery store. You mentioned Mars. There was a section at my local grocery store of candy, which I don't often buy, but I bought like half of the rack because this unwrapped minis, and this was an entire section at the grocery store of candy packaged in recyclable paperboard, including from the Mars company. So I think we need to, I bought these so that we could eat it all and then bring it to the legislative offices next week. And show them that they don't need plastic and they don't need chemical recycling to put goods out on the market.
And that chocolate looks really good. Bring it to tomorrow's news conference at the Capitol, please.
Totally. No, this is now part of I have like a whole kit of good packaging, better packaging. So this will be part of it now. So Judith, you helped get the original New York bottle bill adopted in 1982. Clearly you were an infant. I don't know how you did that. But congratulations. So later, when you and I worked together in the governor's office in 2008, we were able to get deposits extended to water bottles. Does this campaign about packaging reduction feel similar to you?
It does. It feels very similar, and I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but it has the same vibe. There are so many smart, engaged democracy boosters all over the state of New York working on this. Lawmakers are hearing from you. In fact, legislators sometimes stop me and say, I'm getting a lot of mail and I'm getting a lot of phone calls on this issue. I ran into a guy I know who's a former reporter who now works in the correspondence unit in one of the houses of the state legislature. And he said to me 2 days ago, Judith, stop having so many of your people contacting us. We know plastics are bad. We know you want to pass this packaging bill. And I said, oh, are you getting a lot of phone calls and emails? And how could that be? And I said, wait till Thursday today. So I don't want to run into him next week. So, you know, a lot of times these issues are overwhelming, but one person can really make a difference. And we really have until June 9th. So all of these emails and we're about to shift to phone calls today make a difference, but keep doing it. Put the phone numbers of Carl Hasty and Andrea Stewart Cousins in your phone. I have done this with my members of Congress. So when I'm driving, I just have to hit one button and then I call. Put those phone numbers right in your phone when we're done and call them every single day, please, not weekends between now and June 9th, and email them every single day. I mean, we cranked out a lot today, but we have to keep this momentum going.
So we are about 50 actions away from hitting our final goal for the day or for this hour. We want you to keep going even later. So get those last few actions in. In 4 minutes, we are going to just pause on the email actions. And we're going to shift to phone calls and we're going to put something up on the screen for you, but just keep taking those actions for the next now 3 minutes. We have 3 minutes to get to 2,500. I know you guys can do this. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's going up so fast. Keep going, keep getting those actions in, get the emails out. You are amazing multitaskers. I don't know that I could do this the way you're doing it. This is brilliant. 10 more emails. 5, 4, 4, almost there. We did it.
Wow.
Awesome.
You guys are amazing. This is incredible. All right. So I think at this point,
You're done. We are going to leave the goal right there. Everything else is, I want to say everything else is gravy, but we did it. We made it.
We did it, you guys. And thank you to Climate Action Now for this amazing app, because this is such a cool way to do activism together. Judah, thank you for that conversation. That was fun.
Thank you, Oprah.
Thank you, Meryl. So let's go 2 minutes early and get our the call action up on the screen. Was that going to be, who was going to?
If I can jump in, Jennifer, there's 2 ways that people can call.
Oh, right. Thank you, Brett. Go ahead, take it away.
Is in the app. I'll show you what you want to do in the app.
You can scroll through to the end, right?
Yeah, I've already scrolled through. See, I've already taken the actions we had queued up. So you just, in the carousel, just swipe. If you're not there yet, swipe all the way to the end. Okay, and then all you have to do is press the Do It Now button. And here they are, and you're all set up. You don't need to know the phone number or anything. Just press the call button, and there's your talking points, and then you can make your call. And when you do that, you'll get points for that, and that will also be added to the goal tracker. But for those of you who are not yet in the app, or you want to just kind of go straight out making phone calls with your phone, I'm going to share a different screen with you, which will have the phone numbers and the script. So either way, we're going to just get going on the phone calls. And
I want to note for everyone as this comes on, we included multiple phone numbers. So just pick a random one. You don't have to call all of them. We just want to try to spread the calls among different numbers.
But pick one for Andrea Stewart Cousins in the Senate, and then pick one for Assembly Speaker Carl Hasty.
Yep. All right. And we're gonna be quiet for a second, which is hard for Judith and me. Make those calls.
And maybe throw in the chat when you've made a call, just let us know, just for fun.
I'll just whisper. See, I can't help myself. In our call relay yesterday, we shut down the voicemail twice at Andrew Stewart Cousins' office. It was very exciting. We had to switch to the second number.
Jennifer, before we close, let me announce tomorrow's petition drop.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to see your calls in the chat. Oh, good. Spoke to friendly person in majority leader's office. Great. Looks like the first calls are wrapping up with Senate Majority Leader. If you haven't yet, call Speaker Hasty.
Hi, my name is Brett Walter. I'm calling to urge. Oops.
Janelle is, Piotr is reporting that the Andrea Stewart Cousins mailbox is full, and so she's going to the next number. But Andrew has reached both offices, so just keep dialing.
Wow, Tina got to speak to the staffer for a full minute. Great.
Because that's what Tina Pelican does. She gets her voice heard.
Even if you called at the relay yesterday, call again. Like Judith said, we should all be calling every day at this point. Put their numbers in your phone, save them, speed dial. I think I'm gonna have my kids call later.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Will you give them candy in exchange?
Yes. I'm not above bribing my children to do good things.
Look at that goal on the emails, 2,634.
And these are the calls are counting as well if you're doing them through the app. So keep it up.
Oh, good. Right. Yeah, don't worry about Tedesco, Nancy. Lots of people having success. This is
Yeah,
great.
just keep calling. So Rebecca Kreshkoff just said she's a little behind and how can she keep going? Remember, Brett and
Scroll-
Matt offered some assistance.
Yes, but just scroll the carousel to the very end, Rebecca. It's the call is the last action.
Or you can do what I do and just write down the phone numbers on a piece of paper, or
Mhm.
take a picture of the screen.
Yeah.
Mimi Shaiko Graminsky, an amazing artist in the Hudson Valley, got through to both. Thank you, Mimi.
Yeah, just go manual, Rebecca, if you're struggling. Oh, Teresa, you have to go back to work? We understand. But thank you for joining us in this power hour. I think we can say this was a huge success. We definitely made our voices heard today.
And it is recorded, and I'll be sending out to everybody who registered a link to the recording in a couple hours.
Thank you for leaving messages for them. If they don't pick up, it's still important. They register the calls.
So before we run out of time, it's true to think again, I just want to mention something particularly for people in the Capital District area. With our friends at Surfrider and Only One, we were circulating a petition in support of this bill. And we have over 13,000 signatures on the petition. So tomorrow we're doing a news conference at the New York State Capitol to deliver the 13,000 plus petitions to Speaker Carl Hastie and then Andrea Stewart Cousins' Senate office. Don't travel for this. You know, if you're not going to be in Albany anyway, don't come. But if it's easy for you to come to Albany, if you have to go to the Honest Wade Food Co-op anyway, join us tomorrow. We're meeting at 11:30 tomorrow, Friday morning, in the Dunkin' Donuts in the Capitol. And then at 12 noon, we're going to go upstairs to the 3rd floor, and we're going to meet a staff person from the Speaker's office in the rear of the Assembly chamber. So if you're running late and you can't meet us at 11:30 at Dunkin' Donuts, come up to the 3rd floor of the Capitol, rear of the Assembly chamber. We've invited the media. We've got some good leads on some key reporters that will join us. We don't need a huge crowd, but you know, a decent crowd to do the petition presentation would be great. So that's tomorrow, 11:30 at the Dunkin' Donuts in the Capitol.
Great. People are wrapping up in the chat, telling us that they're getting through or leaving messages. And some people were asking about the petition. The petition's closed, I think, at this point. And really the most effective thing you can do from now until the end of session is continue to make phone calls to these two legislators right here, the Senate Majority Leader and the Assembly Speaker. That is the highest use of your time. That is how we're going to make sure that we get as many voices heard as possible and hopefully get this bill over the finish line. Thank you all for your action today. This has been so inspiring. If you didn't finish the actions in the app, they're going to be there till the end of session. You can continue to take those actions, continue to write emails, continue to make phone calls, and you can just keep scrolling right through that carousel and clicking on take action, do it now. Thank you so much. We exceeded our goal by so much because you guys are dedicated. And really, truly, these emails and phone calls make all the difference. Thank you.
And our sincere thanks to Matt and Brett for creating this tool.
It's our pleasure. And we will stay, for those of you, anyone who needs extra help with the app, Matthew will be here. I'm going to duck out for a few minutes to debrief my other co-panelists, but Matthew will be here to answer any questions that any of you have. And then I'll be back in a few minutes to help him with that. So thank you, everybody. Fantastic job. You've done good today. Very well. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everyone.
Cruise ship